Hey guys and girls and snake lovers. Today I wanted to do a video of what I think is the best housing for snakes. So I've learned quite a bit and through my own experiences, I've used a lot of different cages. I've built my own. As you guys know in my other videos, my really big one. By the way, you guys remember Wilma. Don't want to be rude. This is him. He's a cool dude. Wilma Python, Australian. Anyways, um, so you have your aquarium style tank, which is, you buy at Petco. It's meant really for fish. They keep reptiles, whatever in it. You put a lamp on top of it. So what I've seen is that the tubs like this actually work better. They seem to be happier. So I'll give you an example. I used to keep Wilma in a cage like this. I've kept a few other snakes kind of in here, the same one. I tried different substrates. That doesn't really help. And what I've noticed is, I'll use Wilma as an example, is I put them in a tub. A couple different reasons. One, it holds the temperature really well because there's a heat source in the back, so they're able to go to the heat, come out. It's smaller. They don't have as much room to get lost in temperatures or anything like that. Two, it holds the humidity better versus a cage like this, where in order to provide heat, you're going to have to use a lamp, which is harder to regulate temperature as much. It kind of just heats up the whole thing. It still works, but in my experience, when I had Wilma in there, he wasn't as active. He wasn't as food aggressive. He kind of didn't seem as happy. And I can definitely see that. And when I switched him to tubs, like one of these, he's been a lot more active. He's always trying to get out. He's always looking for food. When I feed him, he actually strikes it now. I feel like that he's much happier in a small and tightly enclosed space versus an open glass, all four windows glass terrarium. Now, there's the type of terrariums where you have the side glass, where the side entrance, which is the glass, and then all four wood walls. That's a better way to go because you can seal it all up. You can slide the window closed, and there's not a screen top to let all the humidity and heat out. They also feel a lot more secure when they're in a tub. It's dark. So in nature, that's where snakes like to be anyways. They like to be in a little hole in the ground, waiting for their food. They don't really come out and play or do anything like that in the wild. They're more so just waiting for their food. They're, on instinct or to come out and breathe. And they're mostly active at night. So during the day, if you can keep them in a small space like this, where they're still able to see when it's daytime, because obviously the front's clear, you can see that, so they're still able to know what time of day it is, when it's nighttime. You're not really confusing their internal clocks in their brain, but they still feel a lot more secure. So that's my 2 cents on keeping them in cages versus tubs. I prefer the tubs better. You can fit a lot more snakes in a smaller area. As you can see, I have eight tubs for snakes versus one terrarium for a snake that's half as big as the one I have for 3 snakes. So it's a lot more, space saving. Maybe not as pretty to look at. This is obviously more pretty to look at, but if you're going to go with something like this, I would recommend like a custom style enclosure where they have the glass front so you can see into it. You can display your animal. A lot of people, that's what they're for. They want to display their snakes. So obviously, keeping it in a tub's not really for display. In my case, I keep multiple snakes. They're for breeding. I take them out all the time. I'm not really making them as a display. I do have my snake in a terrarium like this, but what I do is I use a ceramic heater in one little corner of the screen, and then I use plexiglass to seal off the rest, so it can still keep the humidity. It keeps the temperature. I use a thermostat for the top heat. Seems to work really well. That's for Soma, my boa. He seems to be really happy. So, not saying it's a bad way to go, just saying I like these better. This is definitely an option. You need a lot more stuff. You need the upper lamp. You need the thermostat. A lot of times belly heat as well if you're not in a room that's warm enough. So just different options. Both work well. I think the tub style works better, or the front enclosure works better. So let me guys know if you have any questions about any of that. Little update on Woma. He's a slow grower, but this was my first snake. If you guys remember when I first got him, we've come a long way. Went from little tiny Woma pythons to big giant retics. So the retics are definitely my favorite species that I've gotten so far, and man, they're fun to work with. Careful though, because they'll get you. You think they won't, but one day you're not expecting it. You're going in, to open them up, and they're thinking there's food. They're gonna go like that. So got bit the other day. A little tiny. I don't know if you could see the teeth marks. Not a huge deal. It's like tiny little needles. Bleeds a lot because in their saliva they have stuff in their saliva that makes you bleed. It's an anticoagulant, so you bleed when you get bit, but it's not that bad. It looks worse than it is. It doesn't really hurt that bad, but it's kind of the shock of the strike that scares most people. So with all my other snakes, I don't really have that issue as much, but the retics, they're always in search of food. They will forget about any being defensive or anything like that if there's food in there. It's time to eat, because they'll just forget all that and go right after the food. It's pretty cool to watch. They're definitely never problem eaters. Love them. Ball pythons, we've talked about this before. They're cool. We like them. Anyways, so thank you guys for watching again. If you have any questions about tubs or aquariums or anything like that, ask me. I'll try to answer them. Or if anybody has anything else to add in, feel free. Always open for suggestions. So have a good one, guys. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.